Hello and welcome to the Too Much Time on Our Hands podcast. You're joining us for the weekly stream, or if you're listening to it in your ears, you're joining us for your however periodic stream of noise into your ears. If you're watching us with your eyes, hello, wave, everyone, wave. That's why they're here. That's why they're watching. Thanks for joining us on the stream. And also, if you're listening to us in your ears, thanks for listening as well. Really appreciate it. This week, we are going to be doing something a little different. Obviously, there's been quite a lot of Warhammer stuff being spoken about on the pod recently. And I have been very kindly invited by the fellas to come and play some Warhammer 40k Kill Team. But I am a total novice and don't know anything about this kind of thing. So the guys are going to help me today pick the kill team that I'm going to buy and paint up and play with them. But before we get to that, let's do some introductions. Hello, Russ.
What's up? How you doing?
Yeah, very good, man. Thank you very much. Hello, Duncan.
Hello. Glory to the Emperor.
And hello, Dan.
Cadia stands, Tom. Cadia stands. How you doing?
Absolutely. Bumblebee Tuner, Bumblebee Tuner. And I am Tom. Hello. So, as I said, I've been invited to play Warhammer 40k Kill Team. I know some of it from playing the Dawn of War games, but I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to picking. So these guys are going to take me through all of the factions, and we're going to pick one, and that's the one I'm going to buy, and that's the one I'm going to use. And I'll keep you updated as it goes. But anyway, let's roll in.
So first rule, we can't get bogged down on this. There are 29 different kill teams now. But we should probably very quickly explain what kill team actually is.
Yeah, keep it top line, elevator pitch.
Yeah. So kill team is so if you think Warhammer 40k is a big game of two armies facing up against each other, a war game on tabletop with lots of dice rolls and stuff. Kill team is a microscopic look at a small chunk of that. So you have 10 models instead of 100 models. And your 10 models are carrying out like skirmish warfare. So it's like capturing objectives, similar to 40k, but each individual model does different things, essentially. Each individual part of that leads to a game that is easy to pick up and tough to master, is what I'm finding. And it is a lot of fun. Best thing about it is all you need is 10 models, more often than not, and some scenery and all the books. And the custom dice. You're going to want the custom dice that suit whatever faction it is that you're using, obviously. And then the other rule books, then the Into the Dark scenery as well. And at that point, because you've got the Into the Dark scenery, you might as well get a boarding actions force together. So just a 500 point 40k army, which is fine. But then once you've got 500 points, 1,000 points is really only a hop, skip, and a jump. It's a few tanks. Stop fucking whinging about it. Just get your 1,000-point army. And by the time you've got 1,000 points, you're probably looking at, adding on to that as well. Maybe you'll pick up like an Imperial Knight to just like ally with your army, because why not?
I think we need to sympathise with Dan a bit here, because his psyche is very weak to Games Workshop's sort of style of marketing. He's an absolute victim when it comes to this stuff. He just can't stop at
Russ,
one.
how many kill teams have you got?
4, but they're so snackable. That's the problem.
Sure.
So it only did occur to me today that the real problem with getting a bunch of kill teams is that they're cockle use as an army, because you've got a bunch of random people who don't like each other.
Yeah.
So if you do want to build it up to an army, it's not the way to go. But I've limited myself. I'm not until they're all painted and all the scenery's painted. I'm not allowed any more.
Sure.
I'm not going to get any more unless they do like a Terminator squad with the new release. But I don't think they would. I think they're too OP for.
I think that's going to be boarding actions. I think that's going to be more boarding. And like the other thing is that this is all being recorded on the eve of Adepticon Live as well, which it looks like there's going to be a ton of new stuff announced. So.
Well, the next generation of 40k is on the horizon, isn't it?
It's looking more and more likely, yeah.
Which is really nice, because that means I don't have to spend any money until that comes out.
Don't buy it. Don't buy it. Well, at least wait until like loads of people rushed out and bought 9th edition, and then everyone hated it.
9th edition's fine. 9th edition is the one that's got everyone into 40k pretty much.
Give it a little while.
Or is Kill Team its own rules?
Yeah. It's completely separate these days.
All right, that's all right.
So Kill Team did start as just do 40k but smaller.
But no, it's got its own.
Rules. Yeah, it's got its own rule set now. So yeah, you need to choose a faction to go with.
Well, we've just confused Tom already. I will say that I have. The good thing about some of the kill teams is if you've already got an existing army, you can actually just use some of those models for a kill team.
But you don't have anyone for 40k, do you?
Tom hasn't got anyone for 40k, have you?
I have no one for 40k.
You said you've
been too busy being cool and doing things like 3D printing and weathering your World War II tanks and other cool stuff that Chads do.
Dan, I'm just gonna rise above it, Russ. I'm just gonna rise above this. I'm not gonna buy it.
So it's also just occurred to me
I'm
that
actually amazed there's space in this office.
your toilet roll is visible on your desk next to your computer.
I've run out of tissues for my nose. So just put that out of view there. There we go. No, it's even more in view. So what? I got a jerk off station. Who cares?
Just nicely 3D printed loo roll holder for.
Yeah, imagine that. It's not a real loo roll. It's actually a 3D printed loo roll.
Little combination unit that holds like a loo roll and a bottle of lotion and some wet wipes.
Yeah.
And this is three of your favourite pornographic magazines.
This is actually a 3D printed loo roll that doubles up as a pen holder. So that's why I printed it. It took 74 hours to print, but it was, I think we'll all agree, very worth
lacerate your rectum.
Yeah.
Russ, you've just given Tom his next idea, going, that's a really good idea.
That's a good idea.
I could 3D print my own loo roll.
Yeah.
Fap box.
Yeah, the FAP station. Okay, cool. So
also,
coming soon.
Bear in mind, the lore of this does not excite me as much as other lore. So I'm happy. I'm happy to sort of go into some of the lore, but I think if we get too bogged down in that, we might lose sight of what we're doing
about gods like we just did before the
lore
started.
The lore is for me the best part of it. Like the lore is just so fucking dark, and it's just
everything is cranked up to 11.
So what I mean by that is not like I'm dismissing the lore and I wouldn't be interested in finding out more about it. What I'm interested in is, if I'm going to play Kill Team with you guys, you guys have a good idea of what I like and what I don't like. Let's go in on where the factions are now rather than where they've come from. Like, it's almost like a what are they rather than a sort of a history
but the 10,000 years of history that's led everyone to this point is utterly vital to your understanding.
I don't know why
and
you're doing that voice.
Game.
It's just us, Russ. It's just us. That is us.
You're mocking yourself.
Mocking us. Yes.
We're not too bad. We're not too bad. If you ever did want to get into the lore, Dan, have you listened to it? There's a podcast called Adeptus Ridiculous.
No, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, they do kind of just like lore explanations, but they're not being all serious about it. They're just like, right, there's this dude who does this.
Tom,
they're really good.
Quick question: did you watch the Bricky videos in the end?
Yeah, I watched both of them.
Great, right?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, he does such a good job of in about an hour and 2 hours.
About 2 hours, yeah.
Breaking down the entire 40k universe, pretty much.
And what I really liked
was Adeptus Ridiculous. The guy's called Bricky. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then that was really good. Yeah, I really liked that. He was. I mean, obviously, he devoted more time than we probably can to each one, but it was a really nice sort of tight 5 or 10 minutes on each major faction, which I found.
I think Tom wants to get out of here on time. He keeps emphasising that we've only got 5 minutes for each one.
We haven't got 5 minutes for
which
each one.
Which isn't true because there's 30 of the fuckers. So.
Yeah.
I one of my favourite bits is in talking about Eldar, and we're going to get to Eldar later because they done fucked up, and they did. But that's not what we're interested in. So are we just going through the list that's on the Warhammer 40k website?
Yeah.
Let's. I've just gone.
No,
you're right. Fuck it, Duncan.
Yeah, it's right. It's not like I have to prepare this stuff or anything.
Yeah.
Well, let's. We've got too many teams to go through. Let's look at what we know of Tom and what he likes. Let's do it as a wee bit of a matchmaking.
We literally planned this out this morning, like for how we're going to do this.
Did we?
Yeah. Also, overruled because I've got it set up with that webpage and I can't easily change it to another one.
All right. Well, I know, I wasn't meaning like necessarily. Well, we know what Tom likes, so let's just go.
Some of these we can skip through.
Yeah.
Before others. Right. Let's get this up here. Okay. So I'm going through. You guys won't be able to see this, but I'll tell you who we're on at any one time. So we're going through the Kill Team website on Games Workshop's store. So first up is, and I'm never quite sure how to pronounce this, the Elucidian Starstriders. So
the original Rogue Traders, right? That's what these guys are.
Yeah.
Like they are. If 40k wasn't originally 40k, the first edition of 40k was called Rogue Trader, and so that's what these guys are loosely based on.
It was
if you can see, if you can see a picture of what they look fucking cool.
This is a really cool team, and they got a little doggo.
They got a little dog. There's so many kill teams now have a little doggo in them as well.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say is they look a little bit like archaeologist space pirates would be, I think, the aesthetic they're kind of going for.
Yeah, I'm flicking through here and I'm looking at these guys. And
so my personal favourite is the Lectromeister, who's got a Van de Graaff generator strapped to his head.
It's worth noting that currently in kill team competitions, the Elucidian Starstriders are fucking shit up. But at the level we play at, it genuinely doesn't matter whether a team's good or bad, because the level that we play at, it actually just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you pick what you think is cool, basically.
So anyway, this is a team of so Rogue Traders are people who have special dispensation from the Empire to travel beyond the borders of the Empire and seek out new life forms and new civilizations who we can fuck up.
Yeah.
After making some money out of them.
Yeah, imagine Star Trek, but
Everyone's
we're living in the most evil universe in the world. Yeah.
So they're out there, they're sort of trading with and meeting new aliens that we've never had any relationship with before, and the Space Marines are going to come as a terrible surprise if it turns out that they're in any way threatening.
Okay, so they're sort of almost like regulated privateers.
Effectively, yeah. So they run their own. They run they'll have a ship. The person in charge can have a crew, have an entourage, and they're sort of official pirates / mercenaries / explorers.
I got to say, I'm not feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. That's fair. I'm kind of with you there, Tom. I don't really feel it. I look at them and go, they look really cool.
I love these. I'm getting these guys. I love these ones.
Yeah. So Russ is going to be a collector of the Elucidian Starstriders because it's one of Russ's 20 kill teams. That he's
I've got 4. How many have you got?
2. Fuck you.
Yeah, but if you divided up all your Imperial Guard, you've probably got enough of them to make 50.
If I divided up my Imperial Guard, I've got like 40. But it's not. I'm not going to do that. So that'd be weird. That'd be a weird thing weird people do.
Next up, and I love these guys, the Galapox Infected.
Fucking love these as well.
So I'm not sure about the lore of these because I don't think they're Nurgle.
They are Nurgle. Galapox Infected are part of you can with Nurgle is the god of like pestilence and rotting and the idea that everything one day will end.
Yeah.
Okay. So the idea that Papa Nurgle loves you is this whole thing about that Papa Nurgle, you're just like us. He's just like us. We're all the same. Papa Nurgle loves you. The Galapox Infected are like super badass infected people. So think Cordyceps, I suppose, from Last of Us, but if they were giant and even more pussy.
So these
I
ones,
gotta say, there's some pretty grim-looking things.
They're pretty horrific.
Oh, yes.
So they're like a. So we're talking about the warp and how they travel through that. So when your ship is in the warp, it has this thing called a Geller field around it, which stops the hordes of screaming demons wandering into your ship.
And this lot.
So this is a starship crew where something happened and some sort of techno-physical disease got through the Geller field and has warped them and cursed them. So you got this dude with the fire in his stomach. He was like the boiler master of the ship.
Got to appreciate that. Yeah,
that's really cool. Fire, cocking, difficult to paint.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if it's
Do you know what? This is actually quite an early winner for me. Being a fan of like John Carpenter and stuff like that,
models.
and Cronenberg, David Cronenberg.
I was about to say this is fucking a Cronenbergian dream. This or nightmare, depending on how you look at it. Yeah,
body horror. Like I do quite enjoy.
Mouths. He's just a big old squid.
What I like about them is they're quite asymmetrical as well. So like most kill teams have a lot of people that do similar things or things that are equally good. The Gellerpox infected have little guys that are a bit shit and giant fucking guys as well that are really, really good.
Yes,
so you've got a nice collection of creatures as well.
4 tanks. You've got effectively like little nurglings. You've got horrible little like plague flies and maggots, and
lichlings,
things like
that. I
like
the sludge grub. Come on, it's got a sludge grub. That is pretty cool.
So they're pretty gross. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you know what? They're going on the maybe list.
Yeah.
I like it. They're called the Call Me Maybe list.
Next
Love it.
Team, and this is a new unit that has debuted in Kill Team. I think the Navy Breachers.
I really like these.
Yeah. So these are Starship crew, who are like special teams for boarding enemy vessels or for repelling boarding actions that come into your ship. As far
the
as
only time really you ever come across the Imperial Navy was in the Gothic. Battlefleet Gothic, so it's kind of cool to see their
they're not like a unit that you can field in 40k because they are spaceship crew.
Not yet.
Yeah, I think you probably will be after this.
Yeah, 100%. There are rules for them in 40k as well, but you can. I think it's a matter of time because I think the idea is that eventually they'll do like an Agents of the Imperium army, which will be people like Adeptus Arbites, the Palatine Enforcers, and the Imperial Navy Breachers, that kind of thing, led by Inquisitors. Like Inquisitors put these forces together. So the Imperial Navy kind of came about because they invented this new version of Kill Team and 40k. In 40k, it's called Boarding Actions. In Kill Team, it's called Into the Dark. And the idea is it's lots of very close like walls and scenery and stuff. So these guys are designed to be able to just like at close quarters fuck shit up basically. They're really well designed, but they are part of the Imperium, so they're humans.
I do like how they are that some of the helmets are just a mixture of some of your very favourite sci-fi kind of bits. Or some of your games, because like the helmet of the Navis Axejack looks a bit like the helmet from Dead Space.
Yeah, they're very Dead Space.
I'm also getting some sort of original Battlestar vibes from some, and a bit of Star-Lord as well.
Yeah.
They're probably just looking at them and taking a look at what they do. I know it's going to sound a bit harsh. They seem a bit generic, considering some of the other things I've had a peek at.
Yeah, like how many mouths have you got in your belly? None.
Yeah,
so,
I did particularly like this guy, the Endurant, who has the shield and a triple-barreled shotgun.
Yeah.
Because 40k.
These guys are specialists for the Into the Dark. The idea is that they kind of go on Space Hulks and then just like they're breachers, they're Navy breachers. They're the first people on board, like a derelict ship. Basically, is the point.
Strong point in their favour. They don't have a doggo exactly, but they do have an adorable little robot.
They do.
Yes,
the cat unit.
And also the Geist skull, which looks awesome.
I think that's metal as fuck. I love that.
Yeah.
They're on the maybe list.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
They are on the maybe list just because the color scheme as well. I think would be really fun to paint.
So the other thing to remember is you can do whatever you want. You can paint all these however you want to paint them, Tom. Although there is a couple of exceptions to that.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was going to say Space Marine chapters and stuff usually have their own colours and stuff, don't they?
Yeah, we'll get to Grey Knights in a bit. They kind of have to be silver, but like it's more often than not, you can just paint them however you like. So yeah,
luminous green.
The skull is fucking amazing. I've just seen that. That's hilarious.
Pretty cute, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Next up, the Kroot Farstalkers. So these are sort of birdmen. Lizard birdmen. They're very
like jackals from Halo.
Probably not a million miles away from that, to be honest. Oh, they're sort of slightly they have porcupine quills instead of hair.
Yeah, they look awesome.
They have got at least some Halo type weaponry.
So these guys are like a client species of the Tau Empire.
They are.
So the Tau are the sort of they're like the manga / mech suit types in 40k.
Okay.
They have loads of like
almost
big robot exosuit type things. They're really cool.
So the Tau, the idea is that whereas the Imperium went round preaching the word of the Emperor, the Tau go around going, hey, we've got this idea. If we share knowledge and share power, it's pretty cool if we just do it as a collective thing. Now, it's all done for the greater good, which is not wonderful. But they are, on the evil scale, they are kind of like not that evil. They're pretty evil, but not.
I mean, they're space commies, aren't they?
Yeah. The Kroots are really, really cool. I watched one of my friends plays Jack, who's been on here, collects the Kroot, and they're really, really fun. They're really good at Into the Dark because their weapons are a bit closer range. They've got lots of really cool rules for like circumventing like the narrow corridors and stuff like that. I don't know whether it's on there. Have you got the Pistolier on there? One of the coolest models in Kill Team.
Yeah,
There he is.
Yeah.
He does look pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. That's fucking awesome. He looks really, really cool.
They do look cool.
General.
It's just it's just not very me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, do you want bird people in space? Because that's what these are basically.
I'm gonna put them on the no pile.
Ooh.
Okay.
They've
no
got
problem.
a doggo.
So
They've got a Kroot. Yeah,
Elucidian Starstriders are on the no pile.
Yeah.
Galapox maybe. Imperial Navy Breaches maybe. Brutes. I think I'm going to put them on the no pile.
That's fine. You go. Okay. Next up, the Corsair Voidsguard.
Not Dark Eldar. They're just regular Eldar. They're like Eldar pirates, aren't they? These ones.
They're the rogue trader equivalent. They're
Yeah.
they're Eldari, not Eldar. Eldari. Honestly, Dan, get with it.
It's the same thing. Like it's so the
Everyone's
they're space elves. If you think Eldar are basically space elves.
Yeah.
They are every bit as dickish as they are in every other kind of fancy connotation. With the
Tedious,
exception
pious, superior arseholes. I don't.
with the
like
exception that they're almost wiped out because they really messed up.
They had the orgy of all orgies.
They had the orgies of all orgies that created another chaos god in Slanesh. And as a result, wiped out like 90% of the Eldar race, I think.
Yeah.
So as a result,
all Craft Worlds escaped.
Yeah, Craft Worlds escaped because they went, "Whoa, this is even weird for my standards." we're gonna go now. So these guys are like Eldar pirates.
So I'm going with gut here. They do look a little bit too manga for my taste. There's a little bit. It's a little bit too much like
a couple of units coming up that you're really not going to like then. But it's,
they are very like e-boy, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. They're not for me either. Like, I understand why people like them. I think it's cool, and I've read up on Eldar, and I really, really like reading up on them, and I kind of get it. And I love how they still hate humans and still consider themselves better than humans, even though they created a lot of problems. They created the Eye of Terror, basically, by being just fucking a hole into time and space, basically. But, like, it's still... then they're just not...
Yeah, I've never
something
been
about
big
them.
on the Eldar.
Yeah. Yeah. These guys, yeah. So if you think, like...
Quite enjoy painting Eldar.
They look cool, yeah.
Yeah.
But they are essentially, yeah, elf pirates.
I think the Corsairs are going to go on the no pile for me.
I don't blame you, because if you're going to go dark, if you're going to go like the darker side of elves, there's a cooler faction.
Yeah,
for
they
that.
get much darker than that.
Yeah.
So speaking of dark, the Legionary kill team, which is basically the Chaos Space Marines.
Right, so these are the ones that have been twisted and seduced by a chaos being of some...
So there's four main flavours of chaos. You've got Nurgle, who's all about death and rebirth and decay and entropy. and hideous diseases. You've got Tzeentch, who is all about
trickery and
constant
magic.
change and trickery and machinations and nothing quite being what it seems. You've got Slaanesh, who's the hedonistic raver, and you've got Khorne, who kills
He's just
everything.
the god of war and destruction.
I started thinking about this. Bane would be Khorne. The Joker would be Slaanesh. The Riddler would be Tzeentch. I hadn't figured out Nurgle, I suppose. Yeah,
maybe Penguin.
Scarecrow, maybe. Yeah, would be but at the same time, you get Chaos Undivided as well. So just because you're Chaos doesn't mean you've sold your soul to any particular god as well.
And and in terms of the scheme, like what we're looking at here, don't get hooked up on their colours and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really dependent. You can really paint them whatever because they would have been part of a traitor legion or something. So you can look up whatever. Obviously, Games Workshop have their own very specific colour schemes and way they paint because they keep it, and they do it to keep it constant over the years, decades. But
so Legionnaires are kind of hinted that they're mostly Black Legion because that's Abaddon, even, sorry. He's like, he's the person that leads the Chaos Crusades most of the time. That means you can do pretty much whatever you want with them. But as Duncan says, it doesn't mean you have to paint them. You can do whatever you like with them. All you need to know is these guys are, if you think an Event Horizon, these are the guys that would have survived going to hell and coming back, basically.
Right.
They have been tainted and had voices in their heads the whole time about like how chaos is actually the way forward, and the Emperor has lied to them the whole time. And these are what's left of that, essentially.
And they might also gouge their own eyes out, but they're more likely to gouge yours.
Yeah, so they spent the 10,000 years in the warp could have felt like minutes or seconds to them because they've been living there or thereabouts.
They're on the
cool.
low maybe pile.
Yeah,
cool.
I like chaos in general.
Chaos, yeah.
So there's another chaos unit coming up. These ones are way cooler, and I'll explain why when we get to it. But yeah.
Okay. Next one seems bread and butter to me.
Space Marines.
Space Marines. So this is your bog standard Space Marines unit. Essentially, when they released this version of Kill Team, they released something called the Compendium, and what it was, hey, so we've included these cool factions, but also you've probably got an army somewhere, and you probably want to use your models from that army. So this Compendium gives you rules for everyone that's in that army, essentially. So this version of Space Marines is literally the version that's, hey, so you take 6 Space Marines from the army you've already got, and you can do something with them. What cool stuff can they do? Not a great deal. Compendium is considered lower tier compared to like the bespoke forces nowadays, but you could still field the Space Marine army. Space Marines are Space Marines, though. That's the one thing to realise with this. They're just bog standard Space Marines.
So this is where playing 40k and Space Marine and a lot of the video games has given me some insight into these guys. Yeah. They feel a bit bread and butter, and they are certainly on the maybe pile.
There is no shame in collecting anything Space Marines as well.
No, exactly.
Yeah, but for I think you're like for Kill Team. This is more likely to be like if you have an army already, you would use them to put together a Kill Team of this. Because also, I think you'd struggle to buy. So there's a bunch of different units you can take for a Space Marine thing, but you can't buy a box of one of each of them. So if you want an Intercessor and a Reaver and a Scout, you'd end up having to buy like 200 quid's worth of models to take one out of each box.
And they have released bespoke Space Marine forces since then. We'll get to them in a bit. So there's a Phobos and an Intercessor forces, which are probably better than the Space Marines one.
So this Space Marines as a generic thing is probably only to use if you already have a bunch of Space Marines, which a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Next up, Grey Knights. These
Kill Team.
They haven't got. They're one of the few factions that hasn't got their own bespoke kill team yet. So this is another compendium force. However, it's a compendium force that is pretty dangerous. I've used Grey Knights and I haven't lost a game yet with Grey Knights.
So Grey Knights are the Space Marine anti-psyker. They're
Demon hunters.
They're demon hunters
specialists, and they're all really powerful psychers.
Yeah.
They were also created separately from other Space Marines.
They are a secret organization as well.
Yeah, they're more linked to the Inquisition often, or they were. They might have changed. But anyway,
so they're called Order Malleus. So like they are demon hunters essentially. They're put in when there's a massive demon threat. They put them amongst like Space Marine legions, or for in the Bricky video he would say that for every 1,000 Space Marines there's one Grey Knight essentially.
Yeah, they're real specialists, and you get sort of recruited into the Grey Knights. You don't.
Yeah,
they're not like a chapter like the rest of them.
They're not. The seed, the modification is different. And also, sorry, I love them because I did collect a Grey Knights army as well. On this website doesn't show that they also have two-handed glaives, and they've all got wrist-mounted storm bolters, which
that's what those are.
Yes. So in terms of actual gameplay, all mine, because I've got a Grey Knights force, all mine have the two swords, which are really, really dangerous in combat, and the storm bolter. The storm bolter is one of the most dangerous weapons I've come across in the game. So essentially, if you've got Imperial Guard, they hit on 4+, but you've got 10 of them. Okay, so fair enough. You've got 10 of them, hit on 4+. Lasgun's pretty rubbish. Okay, fine. These guys have storm bolters, so you've only got 6 of them, but storm bolters means you can re-roll all hits. Space Marines hit on 3+. They have a thing which means you can hit on 2+. And they also have a thing which means they can shoot twice, which means you are most of the time taking 4 shots with these storm bolters. They're fun. You also get psychic powers as well, which every single one of the person in this force has psychic powers.
They're very cool looking. They're very cool looking as well.
And they're like Knights of the Realm as well. That's the other side of it as well. They are designed to look like actual knights as well.
Yeah, they've got lots of like heraldry type stuff on them.
And
they're a strong maybe.
They're good fun to paint as well, actually.
Yeah, okay. They're silver. This is the one force where it's like
sorted.
I've got plenty of silver enamel and silver acrylic, so
I like them so much that I've just bought the combat patrol so I can collect a 500-point Grey Knight army. Like they are fun.
Okay. All right. Okay. Strong maybe.
But they need a bespoke team. So like the best thing about them is that you've got the strike squad, which is all you need, but you'll get 5 extra models that you don't need, or 4 extra models that you don't need.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Strong maybe.
Okay. Moving on. Who's next? The Imps.
Okay, bog standard Imperial Guard. We don't really need to talk about this. There are 2 other Imperial Guard factions coming up that are way better than the bog standard Imperial Guard.
Yeah,
so cool. I do quite like them.
This is the rules for people that already have a big Imperial Guard army.
Yeah.
And they're all just bog standard humans with a lasgun and a helmet, and they're very squishy and they're not very strong, but you get lots of them.
Okay.
Yeah, Imperial. Yeah, but they look like Colonial Marines.
Yeah, well, and also World War One trench inhabitants.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
But when we get to Veteran Guard,
that's those guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so unless you happen to have an Imperial Guard army already, there is no just Imperial Guard kill team box that you can go and buy.
No.
Okay.
I could lend you some.
These guys.
Really?
So this is the Forge World, the AdMechs, the Adeptus Mechanicus. If anyone in 40k is big into 3D printing, it's these guys.
So,
if 3D printing onto flesh.
If you imagine that on Mars something different happened from what was happening around the rest of the world, essentially they started indulging in the idea of like forwarding technology, and I'm 90% certain the Expanse stole a ton of this. The idea of them is that they believe flesh is weak, and that mechanics are are the way forward. So as a result, they kind of like constantly like building on themselves, replacing human parts. Like eyes are shit. So why not replace eyes with like mechanical eyes, that kind of thing, and arms and legs. The important thing is like robots are kind of like a no-go in 40k. So you still have to be human, but only a little bit of you has to be human. That's what the AdMech is. But this is your bog standard AdMech. There's a Hunter Clade later on, I think, which is much better anyway.
Yeah, they're a bit more specialist.
Yeah.
There's some gorgeous models. They look very fiddly to paint.
Super
so
fiddly.
Detailed.
Looks like a proper challenge.
And I would say this will be the most expensive force you could possibly pick up.
Yeah.
There's no Kill Team box set for them, and the only way to build the proper team is by picking up a box of Skitarii and a box of Scavengers, I think they're called. Each one's £37 each, and at that point, you basically might as well pick up the boarding patrol, and at that point, you're just collecting an AdMech army. Like they're really
I feel
cool.
it'd be very easy to get down into drugs.
Oh yeah.
If you're going to buy weed, you may as well buy
You
heroin.
may as well.
I'm just saying that a boarding patrol would actually be cheaper than buying everything you need individually for Kill Team. And don't get me wrong, they're the next thing I'm going to get once I've painted everything. But because I just listened to Mechanicum as part of the Horus Heresy books, and it's probably my third favorite so far.
They are really cool. They've got better tech than everyone else, so their weapons are far better than everyone else's and things like that.
Yeah,
right.
And they're weird as well.
They're fucking weird. Okay, next up,
the
Ecclesiarchy. So I've got these guys.
Space Nuns.
Space Nuns. Nuns with guns. I love the Sisters of Battle. They're really cool, and the new models are really good.
Even though they all look like Ongo Gilblovian from
Hello.
Yes, they all look like him. So, but they are really, really cool. They're just fucking crazy, and I kind of love that.
I'm going to invite you to a showing, but first, I'm going to destroy your collection. Bullshit. Derivative. What is that? I must have it.
So, the one thing the Emperor said he didn't want was people to worship gods, basically, believe in religion or anything. So these guys worship the Emperor as a god. To a level where they'll drop a church into battle, essentially. They are hardcore religious zealots, essentially. But they look fucking awesome.
They are very much Crusader nuns. Like they are based on. They are as if you would imagine, like the classic Crusade type things from the 14th century or something, just with guns. Because I know that some of the models, there's the whole the pilgrimage, the shrine where they carry a shrine into battle. They essentially carry relics and holy relics into battle to use again.
I've got one of them here that I'm working on at the moment. There she is.
Yeah, there we go. They do look awesome.
Focus.
Oh yeah.
So she's carrying like a little holy relic with her.
There's one that's a whole parade. They're carrying a dead body into battle, but like ding ding, which is very medieval. But
is that the
procession
procession?
Yeah.
Fucking awesome. Like I love that so much. Yeah.
I just looked at it, I was just like, that is crazy. How are you gonna feel that? And that I was like, that is just so 40k. It's
in terms of 40k as well, one of their tanks is a pipe organ missile launcher. Like it's a Rhino that they've stuck a pipe organ that fires missiles on it.
They're a bit extra.
There is another Sisters Battle Adepta Soriatis kill team.
The novitiates.
Yeah,
which is really
that's
cool.
their equivalent of scouts.
Yeah.
Also pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Tom?
Moving on. Unless Tom had any questions about the Battle Nuns.
No, I've got no questions. They're probably not top of my list. I like the look of the models, but it feels a bit too. Yeah, no.
I mean,
no,
they're
no
sort of just slightly smaller Space Marines, really. They've got bolt guns and wear power armor. They're not.
Also, I was just looking on Thingiverse, and I found a Warhammer 40k game tracker for the dice to sit in. So you've got victory points, command points, and victory points. You can put dice in them and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to be printing one of those bad boys.
Next up, though,
and a shit ton of on Thingiverse, tons of things like 40k terrain, like pipelines, modular buildings, energy bridges, operating consoles.
Tom,
I could print out a grot walking tank if you want one.
This has been just sitting there waiting for you. This is an untapped universe, just waiting for you and your 3D printing, Tom.
It's defensive,
especially for kill team, because what you need for kill team is lots of little bits.
Yeah,
you effectively need it to look like a Gears of War level with lots of chest high walls for people to run around behind.
This is pretty badass. There's a lot of stuff here.
Tom, quick question.
Stuff. Sorry. Yes. Hello.
Quick question. Do you think Space Marines are a bit small?
Do you know what? I have sometimes thought they are a bit small.
Yeah, those 7-foot warriors, bit small. Have you thought, what I'd really want is none of those little pussy boy Space Marines, and what I want is some Custodes.
Okay.
So, Talons of the Emperor, that's next, right, Russ?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these
I know these ones. So I've seen these in some of the video games.
The max. They are absolute drip merchants.
Yeah.
Everything is gold. They're 12 foot tall.
Yeah.
They are meant to be as like the difference between a human and a Space Marine. It's the same difference between a Space Marine and a Custodes.
Yeah.
These
are Henry
ridiculous.
Cavill's favourite faction as well. So the Talons of the Emperor are interesting because you can take like a full Custodes force, which is in Kill Team 4 models, or you can
even
take
then they're
two,
a bit overpowered.
Yeah. Or you can take 2 Custodes and 5 Sisters of Silence, and Sisters of Silence are fucking awesome as well. Sisters of Silence are Sisters of Silence. Sisters of Silence are
what they do on their own time is up to them. I mean,
oh yeah. They've sworn an oath
really
of secrecy, but they are also what is known as like psychically blank. So like, whereas like you, me, Russ, Duncan, we have like a warp signature. Like when people walk past us, there's something about us that has like a signature that is related to the warp. The Sisters of Silence are completely disconnected from the warp.
They're like the opposite of a psyker.
Yeah.
It's like normal beings in the 40k universe. Everyone is a little bit psychic or has a. So like the warp is like the psychic reflection of reality. So you can kind of everyone has a presence in the warp, and that's effectively your soul. Psychers, who are people who can use the power of the warp to do things with their mind, like blast people or telepathy or pyrokinesis or whatever. They like shine like beacons in the warp. They're incredibly bright and visible in there, which means they attract the attention of lots of demons and things. Occasionally they explode through the eyes. Whereas
being a psyker sucks in 40k,
which is what the Sisters of Silence are. They are just voids in the warp. They're like, so apparently like even for normal people, being near them is a really uncomfortable experience. Like you can't quite see them properly. It's like they're there and they're not there. They're really weird. And if you are a psyker, being near one just like shuts you down and stops you being able to. It's like having your senses closed off immediately.
They fuck up chaos.
They're also highly trained soldiers who will just fuck you up anyway.
I mean, they look really cool, but I just think they're a bit too ostentatious for my liking.
Not subtle, are they?
No.
I am with you, Tom. I think they're
peacocking.
I'm a wee bit disappointed that Cavill likes them, because I just feel like they almost feel they could be invincible. I mean, they are meant to be invincible.
They basically are invincible, aren't they?
In terms of kill team, they are fucking dangerous. So like, your average soldier has 2 action points. So that means you can do 2 things in one turn. which is usually move and shoot, rather than not, or move and capture an objective. The custodies have 4, so they can move into the dark, open a door, dash, and shoot. Like, you can move super far, shoot, open things, do all kinds of things, capture objectives, whatever. But that's because there's only 4 of them. So it does make it slightly more difficult. But in boarding actions, to put it into perspective, my boarding actions force that I've got kind of just sitting around is my Imperial Guard force, which is 500 points, and that is 44 models. The Custodes version of that has 9 models. It's
right.
Bonkers. Yeah.
Each one of them is a little army on his own.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. But like you say, very ostentatious.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're not subtle. Yeah.
Very, very bling bling.
Next.
Right.
Okay, so we'll kind of skip through. So this is the Novitiates. This is the specialist kill team box that was brought out for the Adeptus Sororitas, which is the nuns with guns.
They're really cool.
So they are really cool. So these are like, I think they're sort of the equivalent of scouts for the Sororitas. So they're not in full power armor, but they're more sort of varied.
Yeah.
So you get a better mix of things. There's one with a big whip.
I was going to say
2 swords. She's got a crossbow. This one's got the fucking chalice of destiny, whatever the hell that is.
So this is the bespoke team, and what it means. The bespoke team means that you've got 10 individual models that do 10 individual things. So the compendium teams tend to have you have 5 people that do this and 5 people that do this. This bespoke team is much more. Each individual model is very, very different, and that's what this is for the Sisters of Battle. So the one with the whips motivates people. I don't really know how, but I don't really want to know how. The one with the chalice does all kinds of different things. They're really, really cool. They got loads of extra stuff. They've got faith points that you can pump into things to make things slightly better. And you have to think about what you do slightly more, but if you do that, they're going to be way better than any compendium team. Novitiates are cool.
Okay.
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 Moving on.
Next one. So this is another one of my favourites, the Orc Commandos.
Yes.
These guys are really cool.
So I know these guys from 40k.
Yeah.
So I've from Dawn of War. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I've played. I've taken part in a war before. Yeah.
So the orcs are
fucking awesome.
They are the comic relief. They are the only people in 40k who are genuinely having a good time.
Yes.
Yeah. War is almost like puberty, isn't it?
They love it. There's that great story about the orcs and Commissar Yarrick, and they who is their ultimate human nemesis, and they basically have him bang to rights, and then they let him go because they enjoy fighting him so much they don't want to stop. So they're like, okay, we got you this time, right? You fuck off. We'll see you next round.
We're going to count to 10.
They just love in life. So this is the specialist kill team box for the orcs. So you can just take greenskin. So if you've got an orc army already, but this is the sort of the specialist.
The commandos.
Specialist kill team squad with 10 individuals, and I love these. I've got this team. This is one of the ones that I've got because I've got the Octarius box. So this is some of my favourite models. Guy with the little hand.
Yeah. My favourite guy is the guy who has a knife in his belt, one knife in each hand, and a knife in his teeth.
Yes, that's the slasher. He also there's another knife stuck to his back as well.
Yeah,
I can't quite see here.
And a grenade.
Yeah. The orcs in 40k are incredible. They are just so much fun. Basically, everything works through belief. They believe these things are working. As described in the Bricking video, going, I forgot to fill this thing up with petrol. It's all right, I did it. Did he do it? Does it matter? No. They believe he did it, and that's what gets the vehicle working. Red ones go faster because they believe red things go faster.
They're not played to be particularly intelligent things in the games either. But like you say, a lot of it just comes down to bloody minded belief. that it's all going to work out. Yeah, nice. I mean, I do like it. It feels like a nice team to settle into with.
They're as close to like Mad Borderlands, I think, and like Mad Max kind of style. Because that's just a lot of their vehicles are like that. I mean, the orcs are cool.
I just like their naming convention: Breacher Boy, Burner Boy, Slasher Boy, Sniper Boy. I just think that's all cool, and then the fact that they've got their little like butt monkeys, the Grots. Like, I just think that's brilliant.
The Grot and Kill team's awesome as well.
You do get one Grot in this team who's like, he's like just a sneaky little ninja with a grappling hook. He can't shoot anybody, but he can sort of swing around really quickly and
take objectives,
get objectives, and
nice
that kind of stuff. They don't include it on here, but they've got a bomb squig as well, which is their equivalent of a little dog model. A squig being a sort of a spherical kind of testicle with a mouth that bounces around insanely, and they've strapped loads of explosives to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Orcs are fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Next up, I think we can skip.
Next one, Tracer Space Marine. Yeah, I mean, that's just if you've got a Chaos Space Marine army. Here's how you use them.
Legionnaires are better. Yeah.
Pathfinder Kill Team is sort of broadly similar. They're too good.
So this is Tau. Tau we talked about before. This is like the Tau. And this is the Pathfinder equivalent. It's lots of technology-based fish people, essentially. They look a bit fishy anyway. With incredible guns, some of which can see through walls. If you want to shoot at someone, this is the army to take. They have a ton of drones as well. So the drones can light up people. They're a thing called marker lights. And the more marker lights you add to someone, the easier it is to hit that person.
I know it sounds bad, but immediately I'm not feeling it.
Nah.
Is this because you said about the Corsairs? They're too manga. This is manga.
This is
I'm just not feeling it. No.
It's not very grimdark.
No, it's not. It's too clean. Yeah.
If you want grimdark, the next one are grimdark.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
On to the next one.
Death Guard.
The Death Guard. Yeah.
Nurgle Marines. So like we talked about the Galapox.
Messed up.
Yep. These are Chaos Space Marines that have been infected by Nurgle.
So yeah, this is like they're from a legion that is just fully dedicated specifically to that chaos power.
And if you're looking into their lore, it's tragic as fuck as well. But essentially one of them fucks everyone over.
I mean, the Poxwalker looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So the Pox. So that's like a human that has been blessed with some of the diseases that they have to offer.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks happy about the enormous horn growing out of the side of his head.
Yeah.
They don't know any different. This is what they had to do to save the entire legion.
Yeah, so they're incredibly durable, like even by Space Marine standards. So they basically they don't feel any pain. Their bodies are sort of decaying and regenerating at the same time. They're basically like, you know that bit in The Simpsons where they explain how Mr. Burns has all the diseases at once and they can't fit through the door to actually killing him. That's basically how these guys exist. They have every illness there is, including a bunch of like psychic and demonic ones.
Personally, if it was between these and the Galapox, I'd go Galapox.
I think the Galapox are nicer models, I think. But there's something really cool about the Plague Marine.
I like the Death Guard.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I do quite like the sort of decrepit kind of state of the armor and all that sort of stuff, and I like body horror, but just feels a bit thin on the ground for me.
Okay, continuing with the Chaos Space Marines though. Thousand Sons are Chaos Space Marines devoted to Tzeentch, but I think there's another Thousand Sons force later on, so we could probably just get to that. The Warp Coven.
Yeah, so this is probably if you've got the Marines already. So these are Rubric Marines are. There's nobody in that armor.
Yeah,
it's just dust.
It's just essence.
So it's like a magically animated suit of armor.
Yeah, led by a sorcerer. So the Thousand Sons were into sorcery. The story's quite tragic again. Essentially, to warn the Emperor of what was going to happen with Horus Heresy, the leader of the Thousand Sons, Magnus the Red, or Magnus the Nerd, as Bricky calls him, and I quite like that. He used psychic powers, which are banned by the Imperium at the time to say that Horus is starting to turn and build something against the Emperor. That destroyed the Emperor's Webway project that he had planned. And as a result, the Emperor, in anger, sent Leman Russ and the Space Wolves after the Thousand Suns, which sent them heading further towards Tzeentch and Chaos, basically. He's not completely innocent, but also he was just trying to do the right thing. And as a result, these guys are fucking cool. Like, Thousand Suns are awesome. But as you say, they're mostly like just walking suits of armor.
Yeah. And they've got lots of like psychic and magic power type things.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Really nice colours. I like the blue.
Yeah, I like
lots
it
of
too.
Blue. Next up,
the Guard Veterans. So this is the Death Corps of Krieg.
Death Corps are fucking awesome. So
Guard Regiment.
I won't go.
If you want Stalin, basically this is the Siege of Stalingrad.
People have to rein in the Death Corps of Krieg from overly, unnecessarily sacrificing their lives. Like, the Death Corps of Krieg are only too happy. Yeah, so as Jack says, the Warp Coven Kill Team replaced the generic Compendium one, so there's just one now. Okay, cool. The Death Corps of Krieg will just overtly sacrifice their life. Veteran Guardsmen are a really cool force, though. So you've got loads of different things. You've got people with like loads of special weapons, like melter guns, plasma guns, flamers, that kind of thing. You've got someone with a demo charge. You've got someone who's called a bruiser, who literally just runs into combat and hits people. You've got a preacher. You've got a medic. You've got loads of different things. Like, imagine like a World War I movie and all the different characters in that. That's what a Veteran Guardsman force is. It doesn't have to be Death Corps of Krieg. The Death Corps of Krieg look fucking cool with their gas masks on and everything. So
yeah, it's very Killzone, isn't it?
Yeah,
like the Hellgast and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, they're a strong maybe for me.
I like the hardened veteran.
Interesting.
And also, you don't need to stick with that color scheme. Obviously, there is so much.
Oh no, but painting. I'm looking at all the little pouches and bandoliers and
medals,
and things like that.
The medals.
And the medals, So much fun.
The other thing to think is that these are just normal dudes going into combat with like all the things we've been talking about. Like, although with Death Corps of Krieg it's slightly different, potentially they might all be clones, but Death Corps of Krieg are fucking awesome. However, you can just use regular Cadians as well. Cadians essentially are your Starship Troopers, Colonial Marines. They all have the same armor essentially, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You can use them to do Veteran Guardsmen. They're
strong,
really
strong maybe.
Cool. Next up,
Chaos Demons. So again, this is probably not. There's no box set for these. It'd be if you had them knocking around. So you've got basically one type of demon for each Chaos God. So the Plague Bearers are for Nurgle, and they've all got their livers hanging out. You got
Bloodletter of Khorne.
Tzeentch has these things. I really love these guys actually. They're just called Blue Horrors, and they're just this gibbering little blue thing goes. Except when you do you get a blue horror first, and then when you kill it, it turns into two pink horrors, which are like
so. Imagine
ones
Fantasia when he cuts the brooms in two, and it cuts in. Yeah, that's what these are. So like you kill a pink horror, it becomes two blue horrors, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and then you've got to kill two individual horrors.
Not feeling it.
Nah, fair enough. You got Demonettes of Slaanesh as well, worth mentioning.
Yeah, they're basically like mermaid / succubus type things.
Yeah,
and then Bloodletters of Khorne, big spiky demons with big swords.
Yeah. Plague Bearers, they bear plague.
We could almost skip Craft Worlds because
too manga.
Craft Worlds, it's just
I've flicked through these ones,
and they're crying out for new models because these are like 25 years old. These models, aren't they?
Yeah, and also I just think that it's a shame they did the pirates, but I kind of get it. So we're skipping through Craft World, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Harlequin troop, Duncan knows a bit about the Harlequins.
They are really cool.
Yeah.
I've got some. I mean, they are still. They're probably not for you. Again, they're slightly manga-ish, but they are. I mean, they've only got one thing here. But yeah, they're essentially a theatrical group of Eldari that loiter in the webways and then just jump out, and they're not quite like the regular lot. They do have quite a cool. They don't have the same kind of armor either. They've got they're very close combat, so they have something called the Harlequin's Kiss and Harlequin's Embrace, and they've also got an invulnerable save, which is really quite useful. Basically, you get shot at if you roll. I think it's a 4+, or is it a 6? But anyway, it doesn't matter what happens. It's because the idea is that they permanently shift. They're meant to be just a visage of being there and then not, and the whole thing is a dance. They basically kill through theatre, if you like. They're deadly theatre.
I've been to a few plays like that.
They think everything is hilarious.
Yeah,
their thing is about entertainment, and nothing is
comedy
hilarious.
Seriously.
Yeah, they take comedy very seriously, and one of the more comedic things they think is very funny is killing other people.
Yeah. But they are also crying for their own kill team, because they are essentially in 40. Well, back in when they came out more like 8 years ago, 2014 or so, 10 years ago, I suppose. Anyway, when they came out, and they originally were just like an add-on in the original Eldari Codex, and then they got their own army listings, and they're all about speed, and they're all about jumping in, jumping out.
They're super quick, yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're super quick and they're super weird. Like if you want to get into the lore, then they protect this thing called the Black Library that no one really knows what it actually is, and like they're really cool, but somehow they avoided Slaanesh, and it's not immediately obvious how they did it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I don't think it's for you.
No.
Who's
And
next?
having a look at the next ones, I don't know whether these guys are
Dark Eldar. So they avoided Slaanesh just barely, and as a result, what they have to do is perform all kinds of sick fuck things to keep Slaanesh at bay.
Yeah, these
Basically,
guys
they
are
keep Slaanesh
arseholes.
pleased. Yeah, but there's another Dark Eldar force we can talk about. Greenskins. We've already talked about the Commandos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, green that's just if you've got a load of orcs flying around.
We'll skip Hunter Cadres because you didn't like Pathfinders.
Yeah, Hunter Cadres.
Same for Tower, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. Necrons.
Okay, so Tomb Worlds, there is another Necron force, Hierotek Circle, that's come out since then, which is still meant to be a bit shit, to be fair. But Necrons are really, really cool. So the big difference between when I originally played 40k and 40k now is Necrons have been given a decent backstory. So they were people of flesh.
They were the Necron tier.
Yes.
And their souls, they were tricked by a god or a demon, I can't remember which, who basically tricked them into allowing their flesh and souls to be their flesh to be consumed and their souls to be entombed in these metal bodies, and then hidden in big like underground structures
monoliths
that just stayed hidden. And at some point during the more recent times, they started to emerge.
And Adeptus Mechanicus apparently reawoken them. Yeah. Not ideal. So they're these ancient Egyptian style.
Yeah, I think they're proper fucking badass.
They are really cool.
Yeah, they're like somehow ancient Egyptian T-1000s.
Yeah, and if you like them, you should check out Trazen. This isn't. We're missing a couple of bits and pieces from here. Is what I'm looking at.
This website doesn't have absolutely everything.
Since then, they've got something called the Hierotek Circle, which is a much more specialised kill team, essentially. So yeah,
I've got.
I mean, the
Necrons.
Necrons.
The little window that I've got ready, so I'm gonna.
But for me, the Necrons are quite high up on my list.
Interesting.
Yeah, they are really cool actually. And there's some really nice models.
I love the models.
They're another one. I'm not sure if it's still the case, but they were one that if you fielded an army of them, you could just get units back.
Yeah.
Well,
they
regenerate.
Yeah.
You basically can't kill them, can you? Because they liquid metal themselves back together after you've blown them up.
They do that in Kill Team as well.
They're relentless enemies in the Necron expansion to Dawn of War.
Yeah,
that video game. I remember playing it, and everyone was going, "Oh, you'll absolutely love it." I really held off, and then eventually I just bought the expansion, and I lost a lot of time playing through it. It was very, very cool.
So we've got a couple that we should mention. Hive fleets.
So I remember
Tyranids.
the Gene Stealers from the Space Hulk games. I used to play Space Hulk quite a lot, and I used to love that. And the Gene Stealers, I do know, and the Tyranids, obviously.
Yeah.
I think they're very cool looking creatures, but I just don't think they're for me.
They are massively overdue a bespoke team as well.
Yeah, well, I suspect with the release, I mean, to be honest, the whole Tyranid line is really overdue for an update. These are old models that they've got available at the moment. Looking at the teaser for 10th edition, I suspect the Tyranids are going to get quite the overhaul.
Yeah, I think so as well.
So yeah, there's not really a good varied specialist kill team for this. So you can take some Gene Stealers, a couple of Tyranid warriors, but not very many of them because they're so powerful. Termagants and Hormagaunts. But yeah,
Termagant.
They're nice models, but they're not as good as they could be. So I suspect that we're going to get a bunch of new Tyranids over the next sort of year or so.
And the other one worth mentioning is the Gene Stealer cults as well, which is the Brood Covens in this. But there has since then been another version of that, like a bespoke Gene Stealer cult. Gene Stealer cults are awesome. The idea that someone's been infected by a Gene Stealer and they go back to their planet, and as a result they start forming like these underground societies which are intent on overthrowing governments and just causing chaos, so that when the Tyranid Hive fleet turns up, like the planet's already in chaos. Really, really cool. Really, really cool idea. So like Tyranid Gene Stealer cults, they hide their little Gene Stealer like traits, but they are really, really cool. They're very Mad Maxy as well, which is really cool.
So I'm just looking quickly on the Games Workshop, and the Hyrotech Circle Kill Team box is £40.
Yeah.
And it looks fucking awesome.
It looks cool, right?
Yeah. Proper cool.
If you don't buy it direct from Games Workshop, you can normally find them a bit cheaper than that.
Yeah, very much so.
I mean, to be fair, I've seen that I can get it on some other site for about £32.
Yeah. Some other ones that are worth mentioning since then as well. Yeah, the Blooded Imperial Guard that have become Chaos Cultists. Okay. So like Imperial Guard that have like fallen to chaos. The Warp Coven is the updated version of the Thousand Suns. The Hunter Clade is the updated version of the Admech as well. On top of which, you've also got, since then, the Kasrkins. I love the Kasrkins. They are the elite Cadians. They look really cool.
They're like special forces Cadians, aren't they?
Special forces Cadians.
They've got better
some fun
armor,
rules.
better weapons.
Yeah.
They're sexier.
Yeah.
I genuinely think this is going to be a toss-up for me between Necrons or the Veteran Guards.
Yeah.
I think those are the two that feel most like the ones that I think, I'd like to paint up and put into battle.
Two more to add, just last two. The Adeptus Arbites. They are space police that all look like Judge Dredd.
And they've got a dog.
And they
you had me at Judge Dredd.
And which is they genuinely meant to look like Judge Dredd, because apparently Games Workshop owned the rights to Judge Dredd at the time, which I didn't realise.
Okay.
And a bunch of their writers have written for 2000 AD as well, and a lot of the artists have cross-pollinated a bit as well. So yeah, they really do look like Judge Dredd.
And then the last one that's worth mentioning is this is of course going to be out of date tomorrow when Adepticon releases another 6 kill teams or whatever. But the last one that's worth mentioning is the Dark Eldar. I can't remember what it's called. The new Dark Eldar one.
The Hand of the Archon or whatever it's called.
Hand of the Archon, yeah, which is really cool as well. But they look like more Dark Eldar.
At the moment you can't get the Judge Dredds or those guys in their own box, can you? You just have to buy Soul Shackle, which is like 100 and something quid.
With all the Into the Dark scenery as well. So
So they will become available in their own box somewhere. So before you make a decision, look up the Arbites Exaction Squad. They're really cool. Like fascist space police.
Yeah.
What are they called? Arbites Avdi.
Arbites.
But
it's Arbites.
An Exaction Squad.
Yeah.
They have a really cool one of their objective things is that they have to arrest one of the opposition team, and by arrest that means drag their corpse off the table. But you have to. So it means like one of the enemy team is marked as like the criminal, and their objective is to kill that person and then drag their body away, and you have to stop them.
Look at the Kasrkins as well, because if you like the Veteran Guard. So the best way of describing the Kasrkins, in Resident Evil, all the Umbrella troops.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all look like them basically.
Okay. I've got some food for thought here, fellas.
Yeah.
Where are they? I just hope they bring out I can't find an RBTs.
Yeah, they're in the Soul Shackle team, the Soul Shackle box.
I'm actually on the.
But they haven't released them individually yet.
Yeah, if you search for that, you won't find anything because there's no models for them. But if you look at the Soul Shackle box, they're in there.
Yeah. Basically.
Soul Shackle.
Yeah.
I'm on the Games Workshop website.
It's every time it's one of those ones that just sells out instantly.
No, but I mean I can't actually even. I've typed in Soul, and it doesn't even come up as Soul Shackle.
It definitely exists unless me and Russ have been featured in living in the same gas leak, basically. But it's a Soul Shackle box set. It comes with the Dark Eldar, which is the Hand of the Archon, and it comes with the RBT's team as well.
Yeah, I don't think they're on the Games Workshop. They're not on the Games Workshop web store because they're constantly out of stock.
Yeah,
and they will be until they make just a box for just them on their own, rather than it being part of this. So they've caught the same bug that all video games have at the moment, and they're doing seasons of Kill Team. So they release every quarter. They release a box that's got 2 teams and a bunch of scenery and a few new rules, which I'm not sure how I feel about. It's quite, I don't know. The scenery is really nice, and the way they've so that you can now sort of, there's specialist rules for
it's
doing
so
like
much
kill
fun,
teams
Russ.
in spaceships and things. But yeah, like nobody's buying £150 kill team box 4 times a year.
No, I do have the scenery though, so we can definitely do Into the Dark. Well, I say I have the scenery. I have part ownership of the scenery with Jack and Dan. So. But I'm sure if I ask nicely, we can probably borrow it. So yeah.
And of course, you have a very close and personal friend who, with a 3D printer, could generate some of this.
Tom, this is going to blow your mind now, I think. But so worth mentioning, like we have the Necrons are fun, and is there reckons between the Necrons and Veteran Guard?
I think so. I really like that sort of Helghast aesthetic of the Veteran Guards, and the Necrons, having fought against them in 40k over and over and over again, and like smashing your head against a brick wall. They are amazing. I love their lore, and I love that sort of, a universe, almost a galaxy plagued by war. Suddenly, just when you think it can't get any worse, suddenly entire planets start erupting and hideous, horrible metal robots of death start appearing from within them. I think it's cool. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. Cool. Jack says you only need the first big box and all the others just have random add-on components. This is true. Yeah, I suppose it depends if you want the teams, though, from that. Otherwise, you have to wait for a few months, but yeah. They do eventually release the teams, yeah.
Yeah, so like the Guard Veteran, they are now available just as a box of just them, aren't they?
Yeah, the Kasrkins as well. So yeah.
Yeah, but you do need to wait for a while.
Coincidentally, I have a Veteran Guard team, a Kasrkin team, and a Grey Knights team. They're the 3 that I tend to play around. Mostly Kasrkins now. I really like the Kasrkins. So.
Well, I'm going to buy one of these, and I'm going to dip my toe into the water and see where we go.
Yeah, if you get into Guard, Tom, I know a guy who has many of the Guard models that you can potentially field a force with potentially anyway. So
Okay.
And at that point, it's then worth looking at the guard tanks, because the guard tanks are the
that's where my juices are flowing at the moment. Having seen some of those models, definitely painting one of those up and weathering it would be amazing.
Look up Lehman Russ, tank, Lehman Russ tank at some point. But yeah, they are. I have a few of them because they're fun. But anyway, So I think we're at a point where we've kind of made a vague decision at least.
Yes. Well, there's definitely two. I will keep you updated, and maybe the next time we come onto the pod stream, I will be able to wave a box, wave it in the air like I just don't care. So thank you very much, fellas, for taking me through that. It's very, very cool. I'm really looking forward to having a perusal of what this all entails. So yeah, there we go. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, because it was very much fun. Very much fun. It was very much fun. Very much fun. For me to sit here and to listen to all that and to take it in. If you've got any pointers you might like to give me, or any things that the guys have said that you want to go, I think you'll find, then please hit us up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Use the handle at TMTOOH. And if you go onto our Instagram profile, you'll see the link to our Discord server, where you can also drop plenty of actually Dan's, actually Russ, actually Duncan's, or Tom, let me school you in the ways of Kill Team. So please do drop them in there. With all that said and done, Dan, how are we doing with our sketch?
Yeah, it's all up. So this will be up this week as well.
Shabba. And with that, let's do our goodbyes. Goodbye, Russ.
The Emperor protects.
Thank you very much. Goodbye, Duncan.
All the greater good.
Thank you very much. And goodbye, Dan.
All is dust. I don't know. Maybe.
Thank you very much. And it's goodbye from me, Tom. And that's it. So let's just cue the music.